We are the Lab Doctors. I'm Amanda.
I'm Dorothy.
And I'm Zhao Yong.
We are biomedical researchers who realized we still have a lot to learn about science.
So why not join us on this quest?
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Lab Doctors podcast. So today we're going to be talking about stitches. Specifically the stitches that you get after running.
Yes.
Or exercising.
When I googled stitch, it came out like Lilo and Stitch. I was like,
I was just thinking about, the stitches that you get when you have an open wound.
Oh, right.
You
right,
got the
that's
stitches? The one where you have to be sewn back.
no.
Oh, same. I have also.
Anyway, so the definition of a stitch, it says an abdominal pain related to exercise. A stitch is a sharp stabbing pain just under the rib cage. It strikes when exercising and is twice as likely to occur on the right side of the body as the left. The condition is more scientifically referred to as exercise-related transient abdominal pain, ETAP in short. Should I call it ETAP?
I mean, it's shorter.
It's also called a side ache, side cramp, or muscle stitch.
It's a stitch.
They just need to make it sound more profound. So that when you Google, you don't get Lilo and Stitch.
Oh, right.
Okay,
You
fair.
Google ETAP.
Yeah, E-tap. Oh, I'm going to call that E-tap from now on. Getting an E-tap. We'll be like, where's your Instinct card reader?
Oh my god. Such
Okay.
niche jokes this episode.
So first, I will just present to you a few findings from this paper from the Medicine and Science in Sports and Exercise Journal.
Oh, messy. Medicine and Science, Sports and Exercise messy.
It's more like
MSSE.
Mississippi.
Let me see.
Okay, anyway, cutting it off.
So I'm only going to reference one paper because while science can explain many things, this is one of the things that's not well studied. And honestly though, because when I did a PubMed search, right, only the 9th paper was the one that was talking about the real stitch. Everything else was like a stitch in science or something.
Oh my gosh. It's scientists trying to be cute with their titles.
Yeah, trying to be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So actually, it's really not well studied. And I'm guessing because it's so transient and I don't know if it's very difficult to study. Anyway, so in this study, they assessed almost 1,000 people over 6 sports. These sports include swimming, running, cycling, aerobics, basketball, and horse riding.
Wow.
I didn't know you can get stitches while swimming.
So that's one finding.
Okay.
So from the people who answered these questions, right, basically they found that ETAP was found more commonly in running, swimming, horse riding, and less common in cycling. So apparently, people do get from swimming, and we'll go a bit into that later.
Okay.
And if you split the torso into 9 parts, so just below like your chest to like your pelvic area, I think, you just split it into 9 squares like tic-tac-toe, right? They find that 58% experienced it in the middle right chamber, which is your right lumbar.
Yes.
Which, if you still don't understand, is like around near the end of your rib cage on the right.
Yep.
And 43% in the left lumbar. So it's just the mirror image of the right.
Yeah.
So these percentages are not additive because people report more than one location of this ETAP in all 9 parts of this tic-tac-toe. And 62% of people always claim that they experience the stitch in the same position. And it causes 72% of them to reduce exercise intensity and 12% of them to stop. 38% of them claim that ETAP was totally gone within 2 minutes of stopping their exercise. 59%, like a news reporter, 59% experienced ETAP any time during their exercise, while 20% of them said it usually happens at the start, and 21% after exercising for a long time. Eating and drinking before exercise provoked the stitch by 52 and 38% respectively. And those who ate before exercise were found to be like more inclined to have pain in the umbilical region, which is the middle of your tic-tac-toe.
Umbilicus.
Belly button.
Yes, the umbilical region. And they also said that if they take in more high sugar content substances, it would more likely promote stitch. Also, stitch is more likely to happen during high intensity exercises or competitions. Or because of lack of warm-up or exercising in the cold condition. And for treatment itself, 31% of them found that pushing on the pain spot helped release the pain, but those who had very severe pain found that deep breathing and bending forward helped. And one more thing that is new to me is called the shoulder tip pain, STP for short, if you want to Google. And they said that The study found that 34% of participants claim to experience shoulder pain when they are exercising, and some of them might be related to the stitch.
Huh. Okay.
So that's interesting because I've never experienced, or rather I don't remember experiencing shoulder pain or like linking it to a stitch.
I don't know. I'm kind of experiencing that now, but I'm not exercising, so I don't know.
I think that's
I don't know. It's unrelated,
it's an
probably.
age.
Yeah.
Age.
I don't know. Okay, so I don't know if y'all run with usually I will run with my phone, and the hand holding the phone usually gets tired, and then I get shoulder pain, but not to do with a stitch, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you swap your hands though? Like I swap the phone.
I swap it when I feel the pain, I guess, you know. But I always thought it's because I'm not really swinging properly with that hand because I'm holding my phone.
Okay, so why don't we share like, have you all gotten stitch and like, do you realize any trend in it, or why do you think it happens?
So I don't know how true this is, but then like I always heard if you drink water right before you exercise, then there's an increased chance of you getting stitch. Or like if you're in the middle and then you drink too much, you can get a stitch or something. So
Like in the middle of exercise and then you
yeah.
drink?
So like let's say you are in the middle of a set, or like you're running and halfway you decide to stop to drink water and then like continue your run.
Yeah.
Yeah, then there's an increased likelihood of you getting a stitch. I don't know.
Does it happen to you?
Yeah, but I don't know if it's placebo effect. And then the other thing is also when you exercise and you don't breathe in a regular fashion, then you would also get a stitch. Then how to cure it is to breathe regularly after that.
Yeah, those are things I've heard as well.
Yeah.
I think the eating/drinking one is a legit thing because every time I eat or drink before a workout, I will get stitches. But usually, I think I mostly get it when I'm running.
Yeah.
Like swimming.
Agreed.
Have you ever
Is
gotten
swimming
it
high
from?
I've
intensity?
never gotten it. while
Depends on
swimming.
how hard you
Yeah,
push
depends on how
yourself
hard you
while
push yourself.
swimming.
True. I've never gotten it while swimming.
Yeah, I've never.
But I was just thinking about our high intensity workouts. I don't think I've gotten it then either. I don't know, or maybe the most obvious ones is always when I'm running because
Yeah,
Yeah.
same.
I think the duration is longer. That's why maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, and you don't really rest when you run. Compared to like those HIIT, you would have breaks in between.
interval trainings.
Yeah, high intensity interval training.
The regions are totally on point though, like the left and right lower regions.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, that's exactly where I get the stitch. So
Actually, sometimes I get it quite high, like just below the chest. Sometimes. Like in between your rib cage bones.
Yeah, I have that now. What's happening?
psychological.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, so today's podcast is to like explain why stitches happen. So any theories do you have?
It's the
do you all have
muscles
any theories?
spasming, right?
I think it's the diaphragm being like, oh, y'all can't see. Sorry.
Thinking too hard, vibrating too much.
Or like maybe one side is more worked over the other side, something like that.
Okay,
Maybe
so
that's
the
it.
diaphragm is that piece of membrane muscle that is just below your rib cage that
separates the thoracic cavity from the rest of the
abdominal cavity.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's involved in breathing.
Yes. I
Yeah.
think it's just the muscles spasming, but
Which muscles though?
the abdominal muscles.
Okay, so the thing is, there's no agreed like. That's why it's fun today, because we are just gonna like throw out all the theories that are out there, and then we'll see which one we're the most convinced by.
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, so theory number 1. Running on a full stomach may jolt the ligaments supporting the abdominal organs. So these ligaments include the gastrophrenic ligament, which is the one that holds your stomach to the diaphragm, the leonophrenic ligament that connects the thoracic diaphragm and the spleen, and your coronary ligaments, which connects to many parts but includes the liver. So all these are in your abdomen. And I hope if any doctor listens to this, like, please don't blame me because I had to Google what these ligaments are and I just interpret from the images, but they might not be that accurate. Yeah, so these joltings of the ligaments that are supporting the abdominal organs would strain the diaphragm. Reasons for and against this theory is that stitches are also common in swimmers where there is no vertical jolting. So this is what like one of the papers said. But then again, for this argument, there is the therapeutic effect of wearing a supportive belt to prevent stitches, or if you hang upside down, which I don't know who hangs upside down.
How would you hang upside down in the middle of a run? I don't understand.
I do not know. Or maybe like if you're doing aerobics, which is one of the exercises. Okay, then theory number 2 is ischemia in the diaphragm. So ischemia basically is like not enough oxygen and blood going to your organ. So in this theory, they say that increased heart rate during exercises forces blood into the spleen and the liver, causing them to swell. And this would restrict the blood flow to the limbs and the diaphragm, causing stitch. So given that the liver is more towards the right side of the body, explain why stitches are more commonly experienced on the right. However, given that usually the muscle group you exercise with is being supplied with more blood and oxygen, and you instead deprive other organs of these blood and oxygen, it's unlikely that the diaphragm is not getting enough blood and oxygen.
Yeah, that was what I was gonna say. Like, if you're exercising, technically the body would prioritize muscles that require blood and oxygen.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really make sense to me that the diaphragm wouldn't receive it.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. Theory number 3. Muscle cramps. This is what Amanda thinks. At the abdomen, as 27% of the participants from this study described stitch as a cramping feeling. To me, it's usually a sharp, like pulling, not really cramp like dull cramp, but like a sharp pull.
For me, it varies. So initially it will be cramping, and then if I don't do anything to kind of address it, like breathe regularly or whatever, then it might escalate to the sharp. Yeah.
Okay. Theory number 4. So the peritoneum is a membrane that surrounds the abdominal organs.
Right.
Okay, so for those who don't know, like there is a peritoneal area at your stomach area or something like that around there. So the peritoneum has 2 folds. The visceral fold is the inner layer, which wraps around your organs, while the parietal fold is the outer layer and attaches to the abdominal and pelvic walls. So in this theory, it says that the peritoneum membranes, the 2 folds, right, would get irritated when there is friction or rubbing between the 2 layers. And the amount of friction can be affected by, number 1, the expansion of the stomach or other digestive organs. So in this case, usually after a meal or drinking water. And number 2, the quantity and nature of the peritoneal fluid, which could be affected by the different types of food and drink you take. And a low amount of irritation could manifest like a muscle cramp, while a more severe irritation could be like a sharp stabbing pain. So that's theory number 4. And finally, theory number 5. Spine problems or mechanical compression of the thoracic intercostal nerves may cause a stitch. So basically, it's like, I don't know if you're saying like your spine's not good, but like because you're moving, you're running, that kind of thing, there might be compression on your nerves within your thorax region, and that may cause a stitch.
I'm not really convinced by the 5th one.
Yeah.
Okay, so which are you more towards?
I'm just surprised there aren't many that is about breathing.
Right?
Oh!
Yeah. Because if regular breathing can help.
But do you think regular breathing is just helping the oxygen distribution? In terms of you're getting more oxygen. I mean, if it's the ischemia. If it's the ischemia. I mean, like, I feel like that is somewhat related to deep inspiration of air.
Why I'm not convinced by the nervous system one is because then swimming.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make sense why you would get it in swimming, because you're not
exerting the spine. Exerting weight on the spine.
That much.
Or
Yeah,
like
because you're in water.
Yeah, there's not much impact. You're in water.
Yeah.
That's true.
So,
Which is why it's good for people with back problems.
Yeah,
to swim.
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've eliminated the 5th one. I say we like we're the
The
people.
jury.
Yeah. We're like, oh, what our decision is what stitches, what causes stitches.
we're just not convinced. We're not
Yeah,
convinced
okay,
by,
not
by the
convinced.
5th
Yeah,
one.
I mean, this whole thing is just what we're convinced by, because clearly people have not agreed either, right?
Yeah. How about theory 3, the muscle cramps? It's just a very short theory.
I feel like that's not well
But that was
elucidated enough. As in,
yeah.
like, that's mine, but it doesn't really explain the biological
Yeah, not
things
much was
that
discussed.
cause it. You know, it's just like what I said, and I can just say it. You know, so
Yeah.
I feel like there's not enough to go on. So
Maybe
I'm not
it's
convinced.
true, but like this is the other things that are leading to this muscle cramp that is not explained.
Yeah, you didn't tell me why the muscle cramps cause the stitches or why the muscle cramps even occur. So there's no physiological basis of what's happening. So it is a bit difficult for me to say I completely agree with it because there's no theory actually being explained. You know?
So for the muscle cramp one, the parts that convince me is that the things that kind of prevent stitches, so like, ETAPs, the things that prevents ETAPs are kind of similar to the things that prevent muscle cramping.
Yeah.
So like warming up properly, breathing properly, all these
And
things.
the like what's it? bending.
Yeah, the bending, the stretching.
Yeah, the stretching.
But why I'm not fully convinced by it is that for cramps that I experience, like let's say on my leg, if I don't stretch it out, it's gonna be there for quite a while. Like it doesn't really
It's like
resolve.
different from stitches.
Yeah,
cramp.
it doesn't resolve by itself. And I need to do some form of like stretch to, I don't know, reset the muscles.
But I feel like stitches don't always feel like cramps as well.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not entirely convinced as well.
Okay, what's number 4? Sorry.
Number 4 is the peritoneum rubbing each other.
Oh.
The two folds.
That's the one that I've heard before.
Oh, really?
that
It's new to me.
Yeah, that people talk about, like that's why when you drink water, something like you're kind of causing the lining to be more pushed
Because
and
of the
then you are-
expansion of your
of your
organs.
stomach, and your
yeah.
organs, and that's why like there's more frequency of it rubbing against each other. But when I first heard it, I wasn't even convinced. Actually, I'm still not convinced by that.
I'm not really convinced by it as well, but I just
Yeah.
don't understand how the peritoneum and the visceral and parietal folds work. So is that
Yeah,
why I'm not
exactly.
convinced? Like maybe
Same.
I need to read a paper.
Same, yeah.
Yeah, it's just two folds that are like near each other, and then if there's rubbing, and then I don't understand how the rubbing would affect.
The pain? The
Yeah.
Like,
of course.
so what is being pain? Like the membrane,
yes.
the two folds, or is it like your?
It's being pain.
Like
Yeah.
what is hurting?
What is
Yeah, what is hurting? Like, or is there muscle in between? Like, what's
Yeah, and
what's
is the
pain?
nerves like connected to the muscle?
But-
or-
And the thing about it is, then how does warming up or breathing deeply or all these other things kind
So
of
this one is
cure it?
more of like don't eat or drink.
Oh,
so it
yeah,
affects
yeah,
the-
yeah.
Actually, maybe it's just all of them.
Yeah, maybe it's.
Honestly, it's just all of them
I'm
that
not
lead to this.
surprised if it's different.
Yeah.
All of them can be valid for different like
Yeah.
causes.
Yeah, it can be like the common cold. There's just
Yes.
a lot of viruses that actually cause the common cold. It's just all of them cause the same symptoms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so second one is ischemia, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm kind of convinced by ischemia because while, when we say like, okay, yes, blood should be supplied more to your diaphragm during exercise, but I was thinking because personally, most of the time I get stitches towards the end of my run. So I feel like, sometimes you run too long, you get like how your legs and arms can get lactic acid build up. And that's when like not enough blood is being supplied, right?
Yeah, not enough oxygen. Like the blood carrying capacity is maximized already.
Yeah, something like that. So I do agree, like maybe when you run long enough or you exercise long enough, then there might not be enough blood that is supplied to the diaphragm, and therefore you have ischemia at the diaphragm.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm quite convinced by that. And the first theory was the jolting of the ligaments.
I don't even understand what that means.
No, actually I'm quite convinced with this one because
Okay.
personally I will try to like, when I run, right, I'll try not to bounce so much.
Okay, I do agree that bouncing is kind of not comfortable.
When you have stitches.
As in when I run.
Oh.
Yeah, so I do get that.
No, like naturally you will like, when you swing your arms and everything, you'll be like a bit bouncy. But I'll try to like run without bouncing so much so that I prevent getting stitches. And after I get the stitch, right, definitely when I'm bouncing too much, it's pain.
Yeah.
It's even more painful.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm convinced by that. And especially after a meal, right, or if you have water in your stomach, I just feel like all these pull on your diaphragm and all these ligaments, and then that's why it causes the pain at that region.
Okay.
And personally for me, because it's always like slightly above the stomach, like at the ribcage area more than the stomach or the pelvic area.
Yeah.
So I think it's like kind of when your stomach is full and then it's being pulled on when you're running compared to swimming.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, actually I was just thinking, could everybody be experiencing different things and calling it stitches, and that's why there's 5 different things that people
It's
are like,
like-
oh yes, this is what causes stitches, but
My
actually
blue
we're not.
color is not your blue color again.
Yeah. Do you think? It's so
it could
vague. I
be.
mean, stitches
It could
is
be.
very vague, like,
That's-
yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
What is stitches?
I gave the definition.
I know, but what really is stitches?
Well, the one stitch that I do know that is like the same for everyone is Lilo and Stitch.
Wow, full circle.
So yeah.
Don't exercise too hard again is our summary.
You should still exercise, just
I guess don't over drink or eat before you
Oh
exercise.
yeah, that definitely works for me.
Yeah.
same. Yeah.
But you still have to make sure you're hydrated. Like before, maybe I'll drink like 1 or 2 hours before.
Same. Yeah, that's what I do.
And if you really need to drink, please do and stop your exercise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There needs to be more studies done on how to prevent it, how to deal with it. And
Yeah.
I didn't go so much into the how to deal with it, but I think there are some studies that are being done, but it's just so not enough, I feel.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like during a zombie apocalypse, when I'm running from a zombie, the stitch is what is going to get me.
Oh yeah.
It's just going to be like, oh, yeah, that's it. Okay, eat me. Like, What can I do? Outrun a thing that...
You have to pull
How
through it.
zombies walk?
Well, it really depends on your theory of like how zombies work. But like, yeah, let's not go into that. And as usual, follow us on Spotify and subscribe to our YouTube channel. A like and a comment would help us out.
You can also follow us on our social media, Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, and feel free to DM us any questions.
Alternatively, you can email us at thelabdoctors@gmail.com. We'll link all the articles in the episode description, and please share it with your friends and family. Thank you.
Thank you.
So honestly, right, like zombie movies are not very responsible. I don't get how zombies move when they're just bones. How do they move?
Are they
There's
just
no
bones?
muscle. Like there are some, it's like, oh, the muscle is like rotted away already, and they can still walk. That doesn't make sense. There's
I
nothing
think only
moving the
bones,
muscle.
but there's skin, right?
Yeah, but like, you know, as time goes
Decaying
on, they
skin.
decay
Oh.
and then like their muscles die.
Oh, yeah, and then
how
the
do they walk?
bone.
How can they even run? And then the whole like, sometimes, you know, in World War Z when they climb over the wall and then they fall down like 1,000 like km or something and then they
But
just
that's the
smash on the floor
point.
and then they stand up and then they just like crack, 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 and then they can continue running again. And I'm like, all your bones are shattered at that point. There's no way you can...
They just
it's-
cracked it back in the position.
No, but it should be shattered. You know, it should be like, there's no way for it unless they have like
But that's the point, they are zombies.
healing
Zombie
factors.
physiology is different from human physiology.
Yes.
That's
No.
what I'll say.
We can talk about zombie physiology
No.
one day.
No. Bye.